Mining Chief Saracen stood at the observation deck of Ceres 9 station, watching the dance of explosions ripple across the asteroid's surface. Each carefully timed detonation sent crystalline debris floating in perfect arcs through the void of space, a ballet she had choreographed countless times before. 20 years of experience had taught her that mining in space was as much an art as it was a science. "Ma'am," her assistant's voice crackled through the calm, "we're picking up an unusual signal approaching from the Kuiper belt. It's not one of ours." Sarah's fingers stopped their habitual tapping against the reinforced glass. In all her years running the most productive mining operation in the asteroid belt, she'd never received a message like this. "Define not one of ours, Martinez. It's not human, Chief. The signal pattern doesn't match anything in our database, and it's approaching at speeds we can't achieve with current technology." The words hung in the recycled air of the observation deck. First contact. Here. Now. At her mining station. "Hold all blasting operations," Sarah commanded, her voice steady despite the adrenaline surging through her system. "Get me a direct line to Earth Command and send an alert to all section heads. Meeting in Control Room Alpha in 10 minutes. As she strode through the station's corridors, Sarah's mind raced through protocols she'd never expected to use. First contact procedures had been mandatory reading for all deep space personnel since humanity began its expansion into the solar system, but they'd always seemed like an academic exercise. Now they were about to become very real. The control room was already buzzing with activity when she arrived. Holographic displays showed the approaching vessel, if that's what it was, decelerating as it entered the asteroid belt. Its design defied Earth engineering principles, all curved surfaces and seemingly impossible angles that hurt her eyes if she looked too long. "Chief," Martinez called out, "Earth Command acknowledges and advises to proceed with standard greeting protocols. They're dispatching a diplomatic vessel, but it won't arrive for at least 72 hours. Sarah nodded, squaring her shoulders. "Then we do this by the book. Broadcast the first contact welcome message on all frequencies, universal mathematic sequence first, then English, Mandarin, and Hindi as per protocol." The next few hours were a blur of activity. The alien vessel, now clearly visible through their telescopes, had taken up position near one of their primary mining sites. Its surface seemed to shimmer and shift, making it difficult to estimate its true size, but Sarah's trained eye put it at roughly twice the size of their largest mining shuttle. When the response came, it wasn't what anyone expected. Instead of returning the mathematical sequence, the vessel transmitted what appeared to be a complete understanding of human language, culture, and history. "We are the Valkyrie," the message began in perfect English, "and we have been observing your mining operations with great interest and, we must admit, considerable concern." Sarah exchanged glances with her senior staff. Concern? Their safety records were impeccable, their environmental impact carefully controlled within the parameters set by the Outer Space Treaty of 2045. "We request permission to dock and discuss your methods," the message continued. "We believe we can offer significant improvements to your primitive extraction techniques." Primitive? Sarah felt her jaw tighten. Their operation had the highest yield-to-energy ratio in the solar system. They'd perfected the art of controlled detonation in zero gravity, developing techniques that had revolutionized asteroid mining. "Permission granted," she responded, professional courtesy masking her irritation. "Please proceed to docking bay 3. We'll follow standard quarantine protocols." The Valkyrie ship moved with impossible grace, sliding into the docking bay as if the laws of inertia were mere suggestions. Sarah watched through the quarantine barrier as the ship's surface rippled and a portal appeared, seamlessly forming out of the hull. The aliens that emerged were surprisingly humanoid, though their skin had a metallic sheen that shifted colors like oil on water. They moved with an unsettling precision, as if every gesture had been calculated to the microsecond. "I am Nexus Guide Terran," the foremost Valkyrie announced, their voice carrying perfectly through the barrier. "We apologize for any alarm our arrival may have caused, but when we detected the continuous explosions in the sector, we felt compelled to investigate." Sarah stepped forward. "Mining Chief Saracen. Welcome to Ceres 9 Station. The explosions you detected are part of our standard mining operations. I assure you they're perfectly controlled and safe. The Valkyrie exchanged looks that seemed to convey volumes. Controlled explosions? Terran's tone carried what Sarah could only interpret as polite disbelief. For mining? Surely you've developed more elegant solutions by now. Our methods are highly effective, Sarah replied, trying to keep the defense out of her voice. We've achieved a 97% extraction rate while maintaining structural integrity of the asteroid core. Fascinating, Terran said, in a way that suggested the opposite. We've been mining asteroids for millennia using quantum dissolution fields. Zero waste, zero risk, complete atomic-level extraction. We assumed any spacefaring civilization would have developed similar techniques. Sarah felt her crew bristling behind her. Humanity had fought hard for its place among the stars, developing solutions that worked with their technology level rather than waiting for theoretical perfect solutions. Perhaps, she said carefully, we could compare techniques. There might be benefits to both approaches that aren't immediately apparent. Terran's skin shifted to a deep blue that Sarah couldn't interpret. Indeed. We would be very interested in understanding how you've achieved any success at all with such energetic methods. Perhaps we could arrange a demonstration. The words were polite, but the challenge in them was clear. Sarah thought of the explosions she'd watched earlier, the perfect pattern of debris, the dance she'd spent decades perfecting. We'd be happy to show you how we do things here on Series 9, she said, allowing herself a small smile. After all, there's more than one way to make the stars dance. As the quarantine protocols began their final cycle, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that this first contact was about to become a contest. One that would either prove humanity's worth to these advanced beings or confirm their dismissive assessment of human methods. Either way, she was ready to show these Valkyrie exactly what human ingenuity could achieve, even with what they considered primitive tools. Sometimes, she thought, the most elegant solution isn't the most advanced. It's the one that gets the job done. The next morning cycle found Sarah reviewing the station's mining data with an intensity that made her eyes burn. Behind her, the holographic display showed the Valkyrie ship still elegantly poised outside their main mining sector, its surface occasionally rippling like mercury in zero gravity. They've been scanning our operations all night, Martinez reported, sliding a fresh cup of coffee across the desk. And not just passive scans, they're using some kind of deep penetrating technology we can't even detect properly. Sarah took a long sip of coffee, savoring the bitter taste. Real coffee was a luxury out here, but today she needed the comfort of home. Let them scan. We've got nothing to hide. The door chimed, announcing the arrival of their alien guests. Nexus Guide Terran entered with two other Valkyrie, their metallic skin now shifting between shades of green and gold. Sarah had spent half the night reviewing xenobiologist reports, trying to understand if these color changes had meaning, but the data was still too new. Mining Chief Chin, Terran began, their precise voice carrying that same hint of polite condescension from yesterday. We have completed our preliminary analysis of your operation. Sarah gestured to the empty seats around the conference table. Please, share your thoughts. The Valkyrie remained standing, their movements synchronized in a way that made them appear almost like a single organism. Your methods are interesting, Terran said. Crude, certainly, but interesting. We've never seen anyone attempt to extract resources using controlled explosive decompressions and shape charges. The mathematical models you've developed to predict debris patterns are particularly noteworthy, if ultimately unnecessary with proper technology. Unnecessary? Sarah felt her jaw tighten. Those models have helped us achieve extraction rates that support Earth's entire orbital manufacturing industry. Yes, we noticed. Terran's skin rippled with bands of blue. You achieve a 97% extraction rate, with an energy efficiency of roughly 85%. Impressive for your level of technological development. Sarah waited for the other shoe to drop. However, Terran continued, our quantum dissolution fields achieve 100% extraction with 99.9% energy efficiency. No debris, no waste, no risk of structural damage to the remaining mass. And I'm sure you're here to offer us this technology out of the goodness of your hearts? Sarah couldn't keep the edge from her voice. The Valkyrie's skin shifted to a deep purple. Actually, we have a proposal. A challenge, if you will. Martinez shifted nervously beside her, but Sarah kept her expression neutral. Go on. We propose a competition, Taryn said. 2 mining operations, running simultaneously on identical asteroid segments. Your methods against ours. The winner gains exclusive rights to mine this entire sector. The room fell silent. Sarah felt the weight of every eye on her, human and alien alike. The stakes were astronomical. This sector contained enough rare earth elements and precious metals to supply Earth's industries for decades. And if we refuse? Sarah asked, though she already knew she wouldn't. Then we submit our findings to the Galactic Mining Coalition, Taryn replied. Your methods would likely be classified as hazardous and primitive, requiring immediate technological uplift and oversight. Your autonomy in this sector would be limited. Sarah stood slowly, her mind racing through calculations and possibilities. Their current methods were proven, refined through decades of trial and error. Yes, the Valkyrie technology was clearly superior on paper, but paper didn't always tell the whole story. We accept, she said firmly. But with conditions. First, we use a previously unexplored asteroid, no pre-existing scans or data. Second, we measure not just extraction rates and efficiency, but also practical factors like setup time, equipment maintenance requirements, and adaptability to unexpected conditions. Taryn's skin flickered with rapid color changes before settling into a steady silver sheen. Acceptable. Though I fail to see how such practical considerations could overcome the basic technological gap between our methods. That's exactly why we need to test them, Sarah replied with a slight smile. Theory and practice don't always align perfectly. Just ask anyone who's ever tried to mine in zero gravity. The next few hours were spent hammering out the details. They would select an asteroid from the outer edge of the belt, one that hadn't been properly surveyed yet. Each team would have 72 hours to complete their extraction operation. Success would be measured not just in raw numbers, but in a complex matrix of factors that Sarah insisted on including. As the Valkyrie left to prepare their equipment, Martinez approached Sarah's desk. Chief, are you sure about this? Their technology is centuries ahead of ours. Sarah was already pulling up the crew rotation schedules, her fingers flying over the holographic interface. Get me Wong from demolitions and Patel from scanning. And find out if Rodriguez has finished modifying those new seismic charges. Chief. She looked up, a fierce glint in her eye. Martinez, do you know why humans still use explosives for mining, even after all these years of technological advancement? He shook his head. Because sometimes the simplest solution is the best one. Sometimes you need to crack something open to see what's really inside. And sometimes... She grinned. Sometimes you need to make a little noise to hear the music of the rocks. She turned back to her schedules, already forming plans. The Valkyrie might have perfect technology, but humans had something else, centuries of experience working with imperfect tools, finding solutions where none should exist, and turning limitations into advantages. Besides, she added softly, they've made one crucial mistake. What's that? They've underestimated us. And that's exactly when humanity does its best work. Dr. J. Wong stood in his pressure suit before the untouched surface of asteroid KB 2249, his calloused hands running over the seismic sensors with practiced care. 20 years of demolitions experience had taught him to read rock the way others read books, and this particular story was getting interesting. How's it looking, Wong? Sarah's voice crackled through his helmet comm. She was back on the mining shuttle, coordinating the operation while the Valkyrie observation team watched from their ship. Chief, you're not going to believe this, Wong replied, his excitement barely contained. The internal structure is unlike anything we've seen before. The asteroid's got layers, like an onion, but they're not uniform. There are these incredible stress patterns. Give me the short version. Document clocks ticking. Wong took a deep breath. We can use it. The natural fault lines, the layering, it's perfect for synchronized resonance mining. If Rodriguez's new charges work like they're supposed to, they'll work. The voice of Maria Rodriguez cut in, the demolitions engineer's confidence clear, even through the static. Did the simulations myself. These babies will sing. Sarah's voice returned. All right, team. Wong, you've got 1 hour to place the sensors and charges. Rodriguez, run final checks on the resonance frequencies. Patel, I want those scanning arrays calibrated to pick up every whisper this rock makes. Let's show our guests how humans dance with asteroids. From their observation position, the Valkyrie watched with what appeared to be bemused interest as the human team worked. Their own setup had taken mere minutes, a single quantum dissolution field generator deployed with perfect precision. Now they waited, their metallic skin reflecting the distant sunlight as they observed what they clearly considered primitive preparations. Wong moved with deliberate care across the asteroid's surface, placing seismic charges at precise intervals. Each one was a marvel of human engineering, not just explosives, but sophisticated devices designed to create specific frequency patterns when detonated. Rodriguez had outdone herself with these new models, incorporating piezoelectric crystals that would convert the shock waves into usable energy. Interesting. Nexus Guide Terran's voice came through the general channel. You appear to be attempting some form of resonance mining. We abandoned such techniques millennia ago when we developed quantum extraction. Sometimes the old ways have advantages, Sarah replied diplomatically. Especially when you combine them with new ideas. The next 40 minutes were a carefully choreographed dance of preparation. Wong and his team placed over 30 charges, each one calibrated to work in harmony with the asteroid's natural structure. Patel's scanning arrays created a three-dimensional map of the interior, revealing veins of precious metals and rare earth elements threading through the rock like frozen lightning. All charges placed, Wong reported, making his way back to the shuttle. Ready for Phase 1. Sarah's fingers moved across her control panel, bringing up the holographic display of the asteroid. Each charge was represented by a point of light, connected by lines showing the predicted shock wave patterns. It looked like a constellation map, a star chart of their own making. Initiating sequence in 3, 2, 1. The first detonation was barely visible, just a small puff of debris and a flash of light. But the seismic waves it generated began traveling through the asteroid exactly as planned. Wong watched his readings with intense concentration as the vibrations hit the second charge, then the third, each one adding its own frequency to the growing symphony. Look at these readings, Patel breathed. The resonance patterns are perfect. We're getting harmonic amplification across all major fault lines. The asteroid began to hum. It was inaudible in the vacuum of space, but every sensor could pick up the vibrations as the charges worked in sequence, each explosion adding to the complex wave pattern. The rock wasn't being blown apart, it was being persuaded to come apart along its natural seams and stress lines. Even the Valkyrie fell silent as they watched the process unfold. The asteroid's outer layer began to separate, not in chunks or fragments, but in sheets and segments that moved with almost liquid grace. Behind them, the exposed inner layers revealed their treasures, veins of platinum, rare earth elements, and something else. Chief, Patel's voice was tight with excitement. I'm picking up some unusual readings from the core. There's something there we didn't see in the initial scans. Impossible, Terran interjected. Our quantum scans revealed the asteroid's complete composition. Respectfully, Nexus Guide, Wong replied, his eyes fixed on his readings. Sometimes you need to crack something open to see what's really inside. And sometimes the very act of looking changes what you find. The final sequence of charges detonated in perfect harmony, sending ripples through the already weakened structure. The asteroid's layers peeled away like petals opening to the sun, revealing a core that glowed with an impossible blue light. That's not possible, one of the Valkyrie observers muttered, their skin cycling through colors rapidly. Our scans showed nothing like this. Sarah's voice was calm, but Wong could hear the smile in it. Dr. Wong, care to explain what we're seeing? Wong cleared his throat. The resonance patterns we created didn't just break up the rock, they activated something. The crystal structure at the core appears to be piezoelectric, but on a scale I've never seen before. Our explosions didn't just release it, they woke it up. The core pulsed with energy, responding to the lingering vibrations from their carefully orchestrated demolition. What had started as a simple mining operation had turned into a discovery that could revolutionize energy production throughout the solar system. Your quantum dissolution field would have destroyed it, Wang added quietly. Sometimes the crude approach, as you called it, has unexpected advantages. The silence from the Valkyrie ship was profound. Sarah's voice cut through the quiet. Well, Nexus Guide Terran, I believe we're only halfway through our demonstration. Shall we continue with the extraction phase? Or would you perhaps be interested in discussing a collaborative approach to mining this sector? The answer, when it came, was accompanied by a shift in the Valkyrie's skin tone to a color none of the humans had seen before, one that looked remarkably like respect. The mining shuttle's observation deck had never been so crowded. Human engineers stood shoulder to shoulder with Valkyrie scientists, all attention focused on the gleaming blue crystal core they'd discovered. The competition had transformed into something none of them had expected, a collaboration born of mutual fascination. The piezoelectric properties are off the charts, Rodriguez murmured, her hands dancing over the holographic interface. Every vibration, every tiny shock wave gets converted into pure energy. It's like we found a battery that recharges itself through movement. Terran's skin rippled with shades of green and gold, excitement. The humans had learned. Our quantum scanning technology missed this entirely. The crystal structure must have been dormant until your resonance mining technique activated it. Sarah watched the interaction with careful interest. Just hours ago, the Valkyrie had dismissed human mining techniques as primitive. Now they were witnessing something their advanced technology couldn't have discovered on its own. The real question, Wang interjected, is whether we can replicate this on other asteroids. Was this a unique formation, or have we been missing these energy crystals all along because our traditional scanning methods couldn't detect them? The question hung in the air like a challenge. Both species had something to prove now and something to learn. Perhaps, Terran suggested, their tone carefully measured, we could attempt a hybrid approach. Your resonance mining techniques combined with our quantum scanning technology might reveal patterns we've both been missing. Sarah straightened in her chair. This was the opening she'd been waiting for. I have a better idea. Let's split the asteroid into 2 sections. Your team takes one half with your quantum dissolution field, we take the other with our resonance mining. We compare results in real time, see what each method reveals. The Valkyrie exchanged those rapid color-shifting glances that served as their private communication. Finally, Terran's skin settled into a decisive silver sheen. Agreed. The next few hours were a symphony of coordinated chaos. On one side of the asteroid, the Valkyrie deployed their quantum dissolution field, the space around it shimmering with impossible energies. On the other, Wang and Rodriguez set up a new pattern of seismic charges, this time with modifications suggested by the Valkyrie's initial scans. Quantum field active, one of the Valkyrie technicians announced. Their side of the asteroid began to dissolve at the atomic level, each particle carefully separated and collected. Resonance sequence ready, Wang reported. Initiating in 3, 2, 1. The 2 extraction methods couldn't have been more different. The Valkyrie's technique was silent, elegant, precise, like watching a sculpture emerge from marble in reverse. The human approach was dynamic, rhythmic, a carefully controlled chaos that sent ripples through space itself. But it was what they found that changed everything. Chief, Patel's voice cracked with excitement. The quantum readings from the Valkyrie side are showing something strange. The dissolution field is affecting the crystal structures differently than expected. Confirmed, a Valkyrie scientist added, their skin flickering rapidly. The atomic separation is revealing patterns we've never seen before. It's as if the crystals are connected through quantum entanglement. And our side? Sarah prompted. Wang's voice was steady but intense. The resonance patterns are following those quantum connections. Chief, I think we're looking at a network. These crystals aren't just storing energy, they're communicating with each other. The implications hit everyone at once. These weren't just random energy-storing crystals. They were looking at something far more sophisticated, possibly even engineered. Pause all operations, Sarah commanded. Both sides. We need to reassess. The Valkyrie complied immediately, their quantum field dissolving into nothing. The human team stopped their next sequence of charges, leaving the asteroid hanging in space like a partially solved puzzle. Nexus Guide Terran, Sarah began, I believe we're both in uncharted territory here. This isn't just about mining anymore. We've stumbled onto something that could change our understanding of energy storage and transmission across the galaxy. Terran's skin had taken on a deep blue hue that none of the humans had seen before. Agreed. This discovery, it would never have been possible with either of our methods alone. The quantum dissolution revealed the connections, but without your resonance mining, we would never have activated the network in the first place. Rodriguez had been quiet, studying the readings from both extraction methods. Look at this, she said suddenly, pulling up a composite hologram. The quantum patterns from their side match the resonance frequencies from ours perfectly. It's like they're two parts of the same language. A language? Wang moved closer to the display. You mean these crystals aren't just storing and transmitting energy, they're communicating, Terran finished. Through both quantum entanglement and vibrational resonance. Two phenomena we thought were unrelated, working together in ways we never imagined. Sarah looked around the room, at humans and Valkyrie working side by side, their different approaches revealing different aspects of the same remarkable truth. The competition had become cooperation, and something even more valuable than mining rights had been discovered. Well, she said with a slight smile, I suppose this changes our original challenge somewhat. Instead of competing for mining rights, perhaps we should discuss how to study this discovery together. After all, it seems the universe has just taught both our species a lesson about the value of different perspectives. The Valkyrie's skin shifted through a rainbow of colors before settling on a warm gold. Indeed, mining chieftain. Though I suspect this is only the beginning of what we might learn from each other. As if in response, the crystal network pulsed with blue light, its energy patterns dancing through space like a reminder that the universe still held mysteries that could only be understood by those willing to look at them from every possible angle. The news of the crystal network discovery spread through both human and Valkyrie communication channels like a shockwave through bedrock. Within hours, the once quiet mining sector had become the center of attention for both species' scientific communities. Sarah sat in her office, watching the steady stream of data flowing across her screens. The last 48 hours had been a blur of activity as more research vessels arrived, both human and Valkyrie. What had started as a simple mining competition had evolved into the biggest scientific collaboration in human history. Chief, Martinez called from the doorway. The preliminary results from the joint research team are in. You're going to want to see this. In the main laboratory, Wang and a Valkyrie scientist named Zyra were presenting their findings to a rapt audience. The holographic display showed a three-dimensional map of the asteroid belt, with points of light indicating potential crystal network nodes. Based on our combined scanning methods, Wang explained, his excitement barely contained, we estimate that up to 30% of the asteroids in the sector could contain similar crystal formations. We've been mining around them for decades without realizing what we had. Zyra's skin shifted through shades of blue and green as they added, the quantum entanglement patterns suggest these networks once formed a vast communication and energy distribution system. The implications for both our species' understanding of space travel and energy management are significant. Sarah watched as human and Valkyrie scientists work side by side, their different approaches and technologies complementing each other in ways nobody had imagined possible. Rodriguez had modified their seismic charges to work in harmony with the Valkyrie's quantum fields, creating a new hybrid technology that could activate and study the crystal networks without damaging them. Mining Chief Chin, Terran approached, their skin now a comfortable silver blue that Sarah had learned indicated thoughtful consideration. Our Science Council has reviewed the initial findings. They are impressed. Not just with the discovery itself, but with how it was made. Sarah raised an eyebrow. Oh! Your species' approach to problem-solving is unlike anything we've encountered before. Where we seek perfection through advanced technology, you find elegant solutions by working with natural forces. It's enlightening. Before Sarah could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the station. Martinez rushed in, his face flushed with excitement. Chief, the activated crystal network, it's responding to something. The energy patterns are changing. The main display shifted to show the asteroid's core. The blue crystalline structures were pulsing with increasing intensity, their energy signatures shifting in complex patterns. It appears to be receiving a signal, one of the Valkyrie scientists announced, their skin cycling through colors rapidly. The quantum entanglement patterns suggest it's connected to something far beyond this sector. Wang's fingers flew over his console. The resonance frequencies are amplifying the signal. Whatever this network was designed for, I think it's waking up. Sarah and Taryn exchanged glances. This was no longer just about mining rights or technological superiority. They were standing on the brink of something much bigger. All teams, coordinate your readings, Sarah commanded. Wang, Rodriguez, set up a full resonance scanning array. Valkyrie team, we'll need your quantum dissolution fields modified to act as sensors. Whatever this network is trying to tell us, we need to be ready to hear it. The next few hours were intense. Human ingenuity and Valkyrie precision worked in concert, creating new ways to study and interact with the crystal network. The signal grew stronger, and with it came patterns that began to look increasingly like language. It's not just storing and transmitting energy, Rodriguez realized, staring at the data streams. These crystals, they're like the universe's hard drives. They're storing information. Information that could only be accessed by combining quantum observation with vibrational activation, Taryn added, their skin glowing with an almost white luminescence. Perhaps that was the point. Perhaps this network was meant to be found only by species who had learned to work together, to combine different approaches and technologies. Sarah looked around at her team, human and Valkyrie alike, all working together to unlock a mystery that neither species could have solved alone. The competition that had brought them here seemed almost laughable now. Nexus Guide Taryn, she said formally, I believe our original agreement about mining rights needs to be revised. This discovery is too important for any one species to claim. Taryn's skin rippled with agreement. Indeed. I propose we establish the sector as a joint research zone. Our peoples have much to learn from each other, and it seems the universe has provided us with the perfect laboratory. As if in response to their words, the crystal network pulsed with new energy. The signal was growing stronger, clearer, carrying with it the promise of knowledge that could change both their civilizations forever. Chief, Martinez called out, his voice filled with awe. You're going to want to see these new readings. The network, it's not just one system. The patterns suggest there are similar networks throughout the galaxy, all connected, all waiting to be awakened. Sarah smiled, thinking back to the simple mining competition that had started all this. Sometimes the greatest discoveries came not from having the most advanced technology, but from being willing to try something different, to combine the old with the new, to dance with the very forces of nature itself. The universe, it seemed, had been waiting for them to learn this lesson all along. 6 months after the discovery of the Crystal Network, Ceres, 9 Station had transformed. What was once a simple mining outpost now housed the largest joint human-Valkyrie research facility in known space. The observation deck where Sarah had once watched her mining explosions now offered a view of something far more extraordinary. The 7th network node just came online, Martinez reported, his voice carrying the easy confidence of someone who had grown comfortable working with advanced alien technology. The resonance patterns are holding steady across all activated crystals. Sarah nodded, watching the huge holographic display that dominated the center of the deck. It showed a 3-dimensional map of their section of the galaxy, with lines of blue energy connecting the activated crystal nodes. Each point of light represented a discovery that would have been impossible without the unique combination of human and Valkyrie approaches. To think, Taryn said, moving to stand beside her, their skin shimmering with contemplative gold tones, we nearly dismissed your mining methods as primitive. Now we understand that sometimes the most elegant solution is not the most advanced one. And sometimes, Sarah added with a smile, the most advanced solution isn't the most practical one. We've both learned a lot these past months. The research facility had become a testament to that learning. Human engineers worked alongside Valkyrie scientists, combining resonance mining techniques with quantum technology in ways that pushed the boundaries of both species' understanding. The original competition had evolved into something far more valuable, a partnership that was changing both their civilizations. Latest data from Node 5 is coming in. Wang called out from his station, where he worked in seamless coordination with a Valkyrie technical team. The crystal memory banks are containing what appears to be star charts, but they're unlike anything either of our species has recorded. Rodriguez, who had been quietly modifying a set of seismic charges with Valkyrie quantum components, looked up. The time signatures we're detecting in the data, some of these records appear to be millions of years old. This network, whatever it was built for, has been waiting a very long time to be found. Not waiting to be found, Zyra corrected, their skin pulsing with excited blues and greens. Waiting to be understood. Our initial scans would have destroyed these crystals. Your explosives alone would have shattered them. It took both our approaches, working in harmony, to awaken them properly. Sarah moved closer to the holographic display, studying the intricate web of connections that grew more complex with each new discovery. The crystal network wasn't just a communication system or an energy grid. It was beginning to look like the legacy of an ancient civilization, one that had encoded its knowledge in the very fabric of space itself. New signal coming in from Node 3, Martinez announced suddenly. It's stronger than anything we've seen before. The holographic display flickered, then transformed. The web of connections faded into the background as new images formed, three-dimensional representations of strange ships, advanced technologies, and scientific principles that made both human and Valkyrie scientists catch their breath. It's not just data, Terran breathed, their skin shifting to a color Sarah had never seen before. It's instructions. Blueprints. The network isn't just showing us what was, it's showing us what could be. Sarah watched as human and Valkyrie experts crowded around the display, their differences forgotten in their shared excitement. Engineers who had once competed were now collaborating, each bringing their unique perspective to understanding the ancient knowledge being revealed. You know, she said thoughtfully, when you first arrived and challenged our mining methods, I never imagined it would lead to this. I was just trying to prove that humanity's way of doing things had value. Terran's skin rippled with what Sarah had learned to recognize as amusement. And we were trying to prove the superiority of our advanced technology. Instead, the universe proved that both approaches had their place, and that together, they could achieve something greater than either could alone. The display shifted again, showing new patterns of connections spreading outward through the galaxy. Each point of light represented a potential node, waiting to be awakened by the unique combination of human resonance mining and Valkyrie quantum technology. We've only just begun to understand what this network can teach us, Wang said, looking up from his readings. The energy efficiency of these systems alone could revolutionize space travel for both our species. And the data storage capabilities, Rodriguez added, they're beyond anything we've ever imagined. But more importantly, they're designed to be accessed through cooperation. One species alone couldn't have done this. Sarah smiled, remembering this simple mining competition that had started it all. Sometimes the best discoveries come not from proving who's better, but from learning how to work together. She turned to Terran. Speaking of which, I believe we never did officially declare a winner of our original challenge. The Valkyrie Nexus Guide's skin shimmered with all the colors Sarah had come to associate with joy and understanding. I believe, Mining Chief Chin, that we all won. Our species, our civilizations, and perhaps the galaxy itself. As if in response to their words, the crystal network pulsed with new energy, its light dancing through space like a cosmic heartbeat. The rhythm of the explosions that had once seemed so primitive now played in perfect harmony with the quantum fields that had once seemed so advanced, creating a symphony that echoed through the stars. The universe, it seemed, had been waiting for them to learn this dance all along. And now, together, they were ready to take the next step.